So as is known, front page news, the Monetary Policy Committee in Nigeria has raised the benchmark interest rate by another 50 basis points to 27.25%. But there were a number of things that came out of the press conference that are also making headlines, particularly Governor Olayemi Cardoso on FAAC allocations, Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, and its impact on exchange rate and liquidity in Nigeria, money supply. Members
were also concerned about the growing level of fiscal deficit, but acknowledged the commitment of the fiscal authority not to resort to monetary financing through ways and means. Furthermore, members observed a strong correlation between FAAC releases and liquidity levels in the banking system, as well as its impact on the exchange rate. The committee, therefore, agreed to increase monitoring of future releases with a view to addressing its effect on price developments.
All right, the governor also made a point on how you cannot fight poverty if inflation is high.
And let me conclude by saying that as far as I know, there is no economic model that portends to take people out of poverty when inflation is accelerating at the levels that we've seen it at. There's none. And for that reason, we do not intend to relent on ensuring that we bring it under control.
We do not intend to relent on bringing inflation under control. All right, Business Analyst Chika Mbonu is here. And I must say, he did get this correct yesterday. Chika, good morning to you.
Morning.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
You said you have to make sure the snake is dead, and it's not dead yet. The inflation stay, you're welcome. So your reaction?
Okay. You had his last comments about the fact that he hasn't seen any economic model where inflation is run away, and then people and they have to do with poverty.
Yeah.
I illustrated this some time ago here, and I said the way you handle runaway inflation, just for our viewers, is like if somebody is sick, has a basket of sicknesses, and they rush in emergency into a hospital, and one of the things that you have is extreme high blood pressure. Whether you have any other sickness, the first thing they're going to do is to try to control that high blood pressure.
Yeah.
They will do everything, get it under control before they start attending to all the other battery of illnesses. That's how it is usually with inflation, especially runaway inflation.
Yeah.
Because no other policy that you implement will actually have the efficacy if the inflation is run away like it was in Nigeria. You need to bring the inflation under control and then start implementing the other things.
Yeah.
Price stability is very, very important. Again, it's like the plane is shaking. You have to stabilize everything before you start implementing other things. So that's basically what he was saying there. And so I could identify with like I said yesterday, that I have a feeling that even though around the whole world, most of the central bank governors are loosening up because of the fact that inflation is tapering in their domains. But in Nigeria, we still have the core inflation. Remember that the core inflation measures every other inflation outside food items. It was still, headlong, increasing.
Yeah.
And you needed to bring that under control, even though we had a semblance of. Whereas food inflation and the headline inflation, the main inflations have fallen over 2 months, the core inflation was still, reticent, and it was important that was brought under control. And I wasn't surprised, therefore, that they did what they did, and that's what led me to, say the thing I said yesterday, that the snake, even though had been wounded, is not dead yet. So that explains that. So. I'm not surprised that those, basically what I'm saying again is CRR for banks will move from 45, I think, 45 to 50.
Yep.
That for merchant banks will move from 14 to 16.
Yep.
the monetary policy rate, which is the lead rate in the economy, was moved from 26.75 to 27.25.
Yeah.
50 basis point movement. All again towards drying up the naira in the system.
FAAC.
Yeah. I'm actually, I don't know how to say this. I'm actually surprised that the committee is just waking up to this phenomenon at this time. We have done this over several years now.
Banking sector.
The banking sector have done this over several years. So I've done this. Even the street knows this. The street knows this. And the street know that whenever FAAC is released, a lot of things happen in the street. And let me not, first of all, FAAC comes out. Remember, the government has to pay its obligations. So they pay contractors, they pay outstanding vendors and so on and so forth. And usually in Nigeria, you know what happens? There's a flight to safety for a lot of people. So they use the money to go and chase foreign currency. Foreign currency, they don't even put it in the dorm accounts. A lot of them put it in their wardrobes in their houses. So that's, the Nigerian economy is very funny. And of course, there have been these allegations severally about the other subnationals. Also, we don't have any evidence to back it up, but we are close to a lot of BDC people, and they have customers in the subnational sector, especially after FAAC allocation. So FAAC allocation, if you look at it, the money supply in the banking system, usually before FAAC, is negative. After FAAC, it goes positive. The treasurers will tell you that. So I'm surprised that the way they're saying it now, as if it's a new phenomenon. It has been there for a long time.
Is there any way to alleviate this? Do you go electronic or how?
At the time, the NFIU, National Finance Intelligence Unit, was talking about, especially the subnationals, not handling a lot of cash payments. Because if the money is passed through the banking system, what you see, a lot of subnationals withdraw a lot of cash. And it's this cash that find their way into these other alternative channels. So if the financial system exists for the subnationals and all the payments are made through those and can be monitored, things may become easier for the central bank to manage. But if the money comes, sometimes you see some nationals withdraw billions of naira. And the banks are running head and scale looking for naira to pay at the local government level or the state government level. You wonder what they do with all this amount of naira. Do they pay vendors in naira? No.
Gotcha.
Do they pay salary in naira? No. So those, we just need to get that right. And I know that some of the subnationals resisted the NFIU, National Financial Intelligence Unit, when they wanted to implement that policy under the last government.
Chika, can you give us a quick outlook on inflation? Do you still think things are going to remain elevated going into the festive season and into 2025? How do you see things?
We usually, by this time, we don't have very decent harvest. But the harvest has been decimated by flooding. Again, the same security issues that we face. The Zamfara area and all those places are like war zones now. And so, those have also muted the harvest. And again, logistic problems continue to, have not abated. So those would have helped to decelerate the food inflation, especially, which is the primary component of the headline or the main inflation. And so we would have expected that to happen, And again, you remember this period also, there's usually bunch up arrival of importation. A lot of people who import maybe one shipload of rice, whatever commodity, throughout the whole year, monthly. Normally these periods have a bunch of arrival, and so you have a lot of supply in the market, which helps to moderate prices. But you have always known that during the festive period, prices inch up a little. Transport fares out of Lagos for the city centers actually increase. Food prices actually increase. But we're hoping that this period, because of the resistance also in pricing, that things will moderate.
We'll see how things go. All right, Business Analyst Chika Mbonu, thank you as always for your insightful breakdown of these matters for the Nigerian economy. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.